there's masking, timestamp, checksums. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and that's just in this files. So out beyond the files, you can see there are validations for the calling process thread, the calling module, user activities, valid times that the access can be granted, should not be granted, GPS locations, and on and on and on. But there is a ton of options here, and they can all be combined. So you can create very elaborate, specific criteria, and we expect this list to continue to grow. So at this point, we're just going to exit out of this. We're not going to make any changes, and we're going to continue with saving our file. And so that's saved. So now we have two versions of this AMUmail protected file. And let's see, it's not, let me just shrink this a little bit. So we've got our two files here. One thing I want to point out is the file sizing. So it looks like they're the same at the macro level. But going down, you can see this is 6,687 bytes. This other one, 6,333 bytes. So the file sizes are actually different. Let's take a look, let's open up each one of these files and take a look at the contents. If I open the first one that we selected, and I can expand this text a little bit so you can see it a bit better. Open the second one, and we'll do the same thing. And then, this window should let me tile them. And I'm going to go past the header text for each one of these. So let me just scroll down, and then the same thing on this one. I think this is probably spilling off the viewable recording screen here. Let's go down. So we've got the .com. Whoops. We've got the .com line, and we've got the .com line up here. You can see the file, the contents of the files are different. It's a little difficult to compare, but if you just start on the top line, all this enciphered text is, or content is going to be different. So we have different file sizes, content is different, and if we were to continue to save additional copies of this file, again, it's all the same, the exact same plain text from our original file used to generate these files. If we were to save it over and over and over, each time, each file would be different. The content, the sizing. So let's close this. Let's go.
So if you have multiple recipients of something later on, they're all it's going to be different. Okay. Yeah.
Back and open this file one more time. So this is our second copy, and it's open, and there it is. So that's the Amulet technology, digital asset security technology.
So if I send that to somebody via an email and attachment, once I've put it in, what does the other person need to have in order to decipher it?
It'll automatically download the framework.
So if I'm trying to protect man-in-the-middle attack, let's say we're doing a deal here in Japan, I'm in China, or wherever, we have some sensitive information, IP to exchange, and we're concerned about man-in-the-middle attack, I send this to you. So at that point, is this because the email address you trust, and you say, okay, it's received by this MX record, really it's the MX record when you get first in, is that what you trust, and you say, okay, open it up? Because I can create an MX record server right in the middle and just take it.
You can do it, even if
I guess help me understand how to get it.
We're actually going to get into all of that in the email thing, because that man in the middle is remember we said the two corners that we're trying to paint here, and that's the thing that I mentioned. The man in the middle comes from the fact that you have a disjointed, you're not in command of endpoint to endpoint conversation. You've got a sender sends somewhere, stays there somewhere, it may or may not be picked up by the right person, if it gets picked up by somebody, those people are not in conversation and stuff, and that's the most challenging aspect, as you mentioned, for
To
my-
me, that is a huge opportunity. I don't know if you know, in the pharma space. Oh, yeah, billions of dollars, by the way, pharmaceutical.
Thanks.
They create inventions,
Yes.
and it's not all in the US. It's the J35 is a great example. So, the J35 is a plane, so we have multi-nation. We had stuff coming in from different places, and so I know in that, because I worked on that a little bit, the trust was PKI based, right? AES 256 encryption using any file, so that worked pretty well because you couldn't break it. As long as my certificate was valid and I trusted the cert that came out, so that's pretty darn good, but that's a different type of user. So if you could do,
Until you're not a hacker, but go ahead.
well, I mean, you
No,
can,
no,
you
I
can
didn't.
break,
Sorry, no
to
offense.
break, no, that's fine. To
Yeah.
break that, you would have to have a hold of the physical credential, because it's
That's-
a secure element.
As long as you
That's
understood
the
that.
private,
Yeah.
yes, that's how we designed it, or it was, we designed it, anyhow, so. But pharmaceutical, I know that was another area, and they looked at us, they talked, I guess you didn't know back in short, they contacted us and said, well, can I sign it, can I prove my identity, can I send it by, yeah, you can do it this way. But the process of managing of the cards and all of that's not easy, there's a lot of friction. That's why I was thinking about the keyless when you said. So if I can distribute IP, and it's how you receive, and I can tell you Symantec is working on this problem. And they're working on it based on, I know how they're working on it, let me put it that way. It's actually pretty cool stuff that they're trying to do as well too.
May I address that?
Yeah,
Because
please.
the source of this 10 years ago was a conversation. I had a patent attorney that was working with me for 10 years, James Carter, who has two different offices, one in Bradenton and Sarasota, Florida. And this is what started this whole thing, what you're about to see in our email.
Yeah, let's see it real
Entire
quick.
discussion.
In the demo call.
So he needs to talk to he has intimate conversations about IP over email with.
Yeah, where I kind of lost you, by the way, because when you first did the encryption and ciphering, where I said, you said it's based on my environment, so if I'm sending the file to a different environment,
You're
how
gonna
do you
hear about
replicate
something
that?
called ricochet, and we're gonna talk about that.
Is it-
We'll talk about that then, that sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's talk about that then, because
No, we're talking about it.
we're gonna, if you'll be, the ricochet answers your question, and I think you'll understand.
Explain to me the ricochet.
Okay, I'll tell you briefly, we're gonna show what we're gonna talk about here. Let me talk about ricochet. Because we have an environment sitting there that is looking at your environment for the purpose of whether it satisfies what we call active amulets. Amulets that may be called by any active, when you come straight, you go to digital asset and stuff like that. We stage those and we look behind so we can, for efficiency's sake, so we can only know the answer when somebody asks us, can I have access to this? Right. So we have this thing going in the background, right? There's assessing your entire environment. A very low lazy thread. So just idly running, right? Well, because we have that, we know everything there is to know about you on your machine and stuff in terms of, there's a question of, are you who you say you are? But we know who's on that machine, whatever, we know everything about that machine in very finite detail, and we do it very efficiently. So here's what we do. Take that information, we encipher it, and we say, we create on the fly what we call a ricochet amulet. That is an image. We allow the user to filter some of that if they want to. That goes enciphered then to the other guy. You see the other guy, you look at this watch, you won't see anything but enciphered stuff. But anytime you send me something, use this ricochet amulet. Okay?
So what presents a man-in-the-middle attack on the ricochet amulet?
You're sending an image, basically, the same image there, to say I trust the environment.
Yeah, I mean.
Something got transferred from the person who's asking to receive the file to the person who's going to wrap it up for them. So how do you protect that channel?
You need a cozy.
Okay, understand first of all, both of these things are arbitrary.
That's the cozy, right?
Okay? Arbitrary. Because you're using tools that you registered with us. Right? In every amulet, we talk about the hide and the config file. There is a special handling in that essentially is a unique identifier for the person who purchased those services, which they do. You purchase amulets on somebody. So that, a certain amount of that information that we can readily identify anyway, audit trail information is in the head of that file. And that is part of the enciphering key, we do use an internal key, is bound into the internal key that we use, that binding to that audit trail information, as well as your amulet and all that stuff. So, any gaming that goes on has to satisfy three parts, right? It has to be the original sender, because he's gonna get it back. You're not gonna be able to touch it, right? Let's say he did amend it, say you got a completely different, somebody stuck in a whole different thing, this is my authorization thing. Well, you sent the thing, right? You know if it's the one you sent, because you're getting it back. Do you understand what I'm saying? I inventory my machine, I get a hashed encrypted image of that. It goes to this guy over here. He says, I want this guy and this guy only to see this thing. It tells me what the criteria should be, because only I'm at a certain GPS location, only I'm at a certain, right, you got it. Okay, so it goes to there, so his stuff gets hashed, gets enciphered with that. It comes back, right? Now, two things happen. Is this the one I sent him on my side?
Oh, so you're actually trying to take a signature of the receiver
That's our
prior to
65,
sending.
we have a 65K.
So that means you have to have an amulet downloaded there too.
We ship them back and forth because we can do that. There's no
So
harm.
if I'm on a public computer, because I'm at the airport and I need this document because Mark wants to sign a $2 billion, he wants to transfer $2 billion to me, which I'm open to, by the way.
Can I get in that conversation?
And I'm at Narita Airport and Mark is saying, you know, you got 5 seconds to do it or you. I'm like, I see the first turtle, this guy like grab him on the neck, throw him out there, and hey, this is $2 billion, I don't care what he looks like, you know. I can pay the $1 billion to get out of jail, I'll still have. That does create a situation in business transactions, right? I mean, maybe an outside.
That's like part, we have financial transaction services that does.
Or I just use my mobile, right? And I can do a fair amount with my mobile. If I do Office 365, I can do a lot with the documents and
You
do a
would,
lot
I
of
think about
transactions.
the person.
Beg your pardon?
Yeah, what can you do about the person?
About the what?
The person.